Take a look at the map of the state divisions in the northeastern United States. As you can see, there are very small states in this part of the country that did not get their borders, unlike the rest of the United States, due to the mistakes of the surveyors. So look at the map of the borders of the state of Connecticut, in the southwestern part of which there is quite a strange panhandle that penetrates into the state of New York. So if the reason for the existence of this panhandle is not mapping errors, so why is this area part of Connecticut and not New York State? Welcome to another video from Geography Tour channel. The Connecticut Panhandle, which belongs to Fairfield County with an area of 48 square miles, is located in the southwest of the state in the form of a rectangular piece. This area is surrounded by the southeast corner of New York, which is next to Long Island from the south, and rich cities such as Greenwich, Stamford, New Canaan, and Darien belong to this area, which have some of the most expensive real estate in the United States. Also, the population located in the Panhandle of Connecticut is more than 240,000 people, which constitutes approximately 7% of the population of this state, which is a large percentage of the population for a panhandle. Therefore, this area plays an important role in Connecticut, and the question arises, why did New York easily ignore this area? To answer our questions, we have to go back to 1650. In this year, the Treaty of Hartford sought to establish the boundary between New Netherland and the Connecticut colonies, the original land being a 50-mile line from the Connecticut River, which extended northward from the west coast of Greenwich Bay, and Long Island at Oyster Bay was divided into eastern Connecticut and western New Amsterdam, which is present-day New York. In this agreement, there was a stipulation that the line should not be within 10 miles of the Hudson River, and a preliminary marker was established for the boundary of this area to prevent this from happening. However, this treaty was never ratified in England, leaving the boundaries unsettled even when New York State granted the sea-to-sea grant in 1664. Just 2 years after the Sea Charter was issued to sea, Connecticut was created. After these events, the Access Charter of 1662 extended Connecticut's territorial claims westward, as far as the South Sea, which at that time referred to the Pacific Ocean. However, a turning point occurred on March 12, 1664, when a franchise was granted to the Duke of York, granting him all the lands from the west side of the Connecticut River to the east side of Delaware Bay, as well as Long Island. But owing to some very shrewd political maneuvering by the Connecticut authorities, a very generous settlement was concluded in the same year. That this matter led to so many disputes, and the territory was prepared for so many claims, that Connecticut commissioners were sent to New York in October 1664 to settle the disputes. So Charles II of England sent royal commissioners led by Governor Nichols to put an end to the unneighborly and unfraternal disputes about boundaries, which commissioners met with John Winthrop and the Connecticut commissioners in November 1664. The result was an agreement that placed Long Island under the jurisdiction of New York and marked the boundary between Connecticut and New York. Finally, this boundary line extended from the Mamaroneck River northwest to the Massachusetts line and crossed the Hudson River near Peekskill and the Massachusetts border near the northwest corner of present Ulster district in New York. A strange thing happened next, that the boundary line as written in this agreement was never surveyed and approved and accepted by the king as well as by New York, which led to constant boundary disputes between the two colonies. So despite these problems, the residents of today's cities such as Greenwich, Stamford, New Canaan, and Darien were politically aligned with Connecticut, which was to Connecticut's advantage. Even once the governor of New York, who also defended territorial rights, ordered the arrest of some of the inhabitants of these areas. So the situation continues in May 1682, when the New Yorkers began to build a settlement above Tarrytown. It intensified further into an area that Connecticut considered its territory. Finally, on November 28, 1683, a new agreement emerged that established the boundary between Connecticut and New York as a line parallel and 20 miles from the Hudson River, extending north to the Massachusetts line. Nevertheless, New York relinquished its claim to a 61,660-acre rectangle east of the Byram River, sometimes referred to as Connecticut's Window or Scissor Arm, whose residents knew part of Connecticut. But in exchange for this disputed territory, Connecticut gave up its claim to rye and a strip of land approximately 1.8 miles wide that included the Panhandle. This strip extended from Ridgefield northward through Dutchess, Putnam, and Westchester counties and eventually became part of New York, the area known today as the Blange. Therefore, the Connecticut Panhandle is an area whose people were enthusiastic supporters of the state, and with their persistence, they were able to persuade New York to give up the claim of this area and still remain a part of Connecticut today. It is also interesting to note that the Connecticut Panhandle is known as the first Panhandle in the United States, which can point to the early American Revolution that began in the northeastern region of the country. Thank you very much for staying with me, and I suggest you watch the video of the strange Panhandle of Oklahoma, because it has created an obstacle for the state of Texas so that it cannot border the states of Kansas and Colorado. And finally, thank you very much for being with me until the end of the video.